Kia aloha no aloha. Joe Souza here, actually standing in our sound studio. For years as a player, and as I started to learn my fingerboard and work my way up those frets, I noticed that the notes got slightly sharp. Well, for years, literally centuries as a builder, we followed the rule of 18. Well, today, as the modern day ukulele builder, we follow the rule of 17.817 to establish true intonation. So today we're going to take a closer look at our true setup and perfect intonation right here on the breakdown. So let's go ahead and take a closer look at our true setup. Now, true setup allows us to, as a builder, get those frets nice and player friendly, nice and soft, get them really level, which helps us with adjusting the action or the height of the string over the fret. And then we're going to check the clarity of the note to make sure that each note rings nice and clear. Now, true setup is really important for the playability of the ukulele. When we look at intonation, now we're talking about how true is that note as it works its way up the fingerboard. So let's say the first chorus, our A string. It's a 440A. So when you go ahead and play that note with an open string, you're playing an A note. Now when you go ahead and fret that first fret, you're actually playing a B flat. And then as you move your way up the fingerboard and play at the second fret, you're actually holding a B. And then onto the third fret where you're playing a C note. And that progressively goes all the way up to the 12th fret where the scale repeats itself. So to achieve that perfect intonation, as a builder, we followed the rule of 18. And we followed that rule for centuries. But today, as a modern day builder, we've learned that it's actually the rule of 17.817. So let's take a closer look at that. If we get the measurement from the nut all the way to the saddle, and that measurement is divided by 17.817, it gives us the location of our first fret. From that first fret to the saddle, we go ahead and divide that by 17.817 to get the placement of our second fret. Then we're going to get that measurement and we're going to divide it again by 17.817. And that's why each of the frets slowly get closer as we work our way back towards the sound hole, of course, where the saddle is. Now, once we get all of those measurements, we're able to precisely locate each of those frets within literally hundreds and thousands of an inch with accuracy that allows us to, of course, achieve our perfect intonation. Now that we got some insight into our scale length and how that rule of 17.817 really plays an effect on the intonation of our instrument. As a modern day builder, we're really achieving an accuracy that was basically unattainable to us. With our CNC and the placement of each of those frets being in the most perfect location that we could possibly find, ultimately, there's still a sense of variability where we have to do these adjustments, which leads us into our compensated saddle. Now, at Kanilea Ukulele, we designed this compensated saddle specific for our ukulele. And each note or each string has its own adjustability. So what we'll do is we'll adjust that ridge or that string break that rides on the top of the saddle where the string is going to go into the bridge, and we're going to be able to adjust it either forward, making the scale length slightly shorter, or in the middle, or slightly back, depending on the diameter of the string and what note we're wanting to achieve. And all of those micro adjustments we're able to do with this file. To go ahead and file a little bit down on the saddle in order for us to really achieve what we see as perfect intonation. Now, there are other factors that play a role in achieving this perfect intonation. String diameter, humidity. So if it's a hot, humid day, you're actually going to get some back bow onto your neck, which then in turn elongates your scale or makes that scale length longer, and potentially you could have a buzzing note. Or if it's a dry day, that neck will shrink, which then in turn there's a forward bow on the neck, where again that changes that measurement, which then in turn could change the intonation. Another thing that really plays a factor is our strings. So if your strings are worn, and over time, if you could imagine that diameter of the string really being perfect when we first install it, but over time, hitting those frets creates little notches into the string, which again elongates the string and potentially changes the intonation. So all of these factors are all being taken into when we do our TRU setup on your ukulele. I hope you got some insight to what scale length, what intonation, and all of those factors that we deal with as builders on today's video. If you like what you've seen, go ahead, smash that like button. If you love what you've seen, remember, go ahead and subscribe to our channel. Also, if you have any comments, don't hesitate. Leave them right there in the comments and we'll definitely get back to you. I hope you enjoyed this video. Everybody take care, stay safe, and aloha no.